The blue crown Liam wore that day still sits on the shelf. A crown no one came to see. Not one classmate, not one mom, not even a pity text. Liam stood at the gate in his little blue crown, clutching the cupcakes we baked together the night before. Chocolate with blue frosting and gold sprinkles, his favorite colors because they look like space, he'd said. He had picked out the sprinkles himself at the store, humming under his breath the way he always did when he was nervous. His hands trembled as he spaced the paper crowns carefully, so no one would feel left out. "Do they not know where we live, Mommy?" I wanted to say the GPS failed. I wanted to say there was traffic. But the truth was quieter than that. More brutal. "They must have gotten lost, sweetheart." But deep down I knew. We were the ones who were lost, in a town where grief has no place, in a world where moms like me don't get invited in. Quick favor before we move on. Over 90% of people watching right now haven't subscribed yet. If you're enjoying this story, tap that like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free, and it helps this channel reach more amazing listeners like you. Already subscribed? You're the best. Thank you so much. Now, let's get back to it. I moved to Crestfield 2 months ago. A new town, a new school, a small planned community wrapped in winding trails and wrought iron gates. It looked like safety. I told myself I wasn't running, that we were starting over. But deep down, I knew I couldn't walk past the pantry where he collapsed, couldn't park beside the garden where he once buried a time capsule with Liam, couldn't brush my teeth in a sink where I'd once rinsed blood from my knuckles trying to wake him. So we left. I sold the house, packed everything that mattered, and used part of the government settlement to buy a smaller home, quiet, beige, and respectable. The moms at Crestfield Elementary all wear the same shade of beige too, just more expensive. Their laughter is clipped, their judgment, silent and razor sharp. They smile with their teeth, not their eyes. I remember the first time I stood in the pickup line. I wore a black sweater, James's, oversized, and no makeup. One mom tilted her head and said, "Rough morning?" The others giggled. I said nothing. Because what was I going to say? That it was the anniversary of his funeral? That I still hear his voice in Liam's laugh? That sometimes I forget he's gone and still set his place at the table? I didn't fit in. But I smiled, because Liam still believed kindness mattered, because he was starting to make friends, because his teacher said he was gentle but bright, because I believed if I just stayed kind long enough, the world would be kind back. When Liam asked if he could invite his whole class to his birthday, I said yes. We made handwritten invitations with gold stars. He delivered them himself. And on the morning of his party, he whispered, "Maybe we'll finally be part of the group." I squeezed his hand and tried not to cry. There's a saying in Crestfield, "If you're not in the group chat, you're not in the group." And I wasn't. Not even after weeks of volunteering and drop-offs, gently nudging myself into spaces that never opened. They had names like Bree, Lauren, and Paige. Bree, the queen bee with her pearl-studded sneakers and camera-ready expressions. Lauren, who always had a protein bar in hand and perfect lip liner. And Paige, whose nails clicked on her Tesla screen like it was an extension of herself. They didn't need to raise their voices to make you feel unwelcome. They just looked you up and down. Then looked away. At drop-off, they blocked the walkway with their yoga mats and green juices, forming a perfect little triangle of exclusivity. I tried once, just once, to enter it. I smiled at Bree, who was wearing pearl-studded sneakers and sunglasses that looked like they cost more than my car. "I saw Liam and Tyler playing tag yesterday. He's been talking about your son non-stop." She gave a tight smile. "Oh," she said. "He must be the new boy, right?" I nodded. She turned to Paige. "So anyway, at our party, we're doing live animals again this year. I just hope the pony doesn't poop inside like last time." They erupted in laughter. I stood there with my reusable coffee cup and my dead husband's cardigan, the same one he wore the night before he left for his final mission, like an idiot. The cruelty wasn't loud, it was coordinated. When I sent a message introducing myself in the class parent app, no one replied. When I offered to help with the Halloween party, they said the list was already full. When I brought cupcakes for Liam's class, Bree said, "Oh, how adorably homemade. We're just careful with gluten, dyes, and processed sugar. You know, behavioral stuff." The kind of smile that says, "Bless your heart," but means something else entirely. It got worse. At the school fundraiser, every family submitted a framed photo for the community quilt. I gave them a photo of Liam holding James's badge, grinning with the kind of pride only a 6-year-old understands. When the quilt was revealed, our square was missing. "Maybe it got lost," the teacher offered. But I saw the way Bree avoided my eyes. One afternoon at pickup, I overheard Paige whispering to Lauren, "I heard she's on government assistance, like military widow pay or something. That's bleak. No wonder she's always wearing black." Lauren snorted. "Some people just attract drama. It's like she wears sadness like an accessory." I wanted to scream. To tell them James didn't just serve. He died protecting the president. He was a special agent, a husband, a father. And I had buried him in Arlington with full honors while Liam clung to my coat and begged me not to let them put Daddy in the ground. But I said nothing. Because women like that believe in shiny surfaces, not silent grief. And mine was cracked. When Liam handed out his birthday invitations, I saw the glances. Bree took hers with 2 fingers like it was damp. Paige left hers on the bench. Lauren folded hers without opening it and stuffed it in her tote like trash. That night, Liam was glowing. "Mommy, Paige said Tyler's really excited about the party. She said they're trying to reschedule his horseback riding lesson so he doesn't miss it." I smiled, but my stomach turned, because I knew what that kind of line really meant. It was something you say to avoid looking rude while having no intention of showing up. Liam believed it meant they were coming. But I'd lived long enough to know when someone's just saying something to keep things pretty. The morning of the party, I sent a reminder in the app. Still no replies. Liam helped me set the table in the backyard. He drew signs for the game stations. Moon bounce, our trampoline, laser arena, a string maze, and space snacks, cupcakes and juice boxes. He wore his blue crown with gold stars. He waited by the gate. 3 o'clock came, then 3:15, then 3:40. The cupcakes began to sweat under the sun. The string maze sagged. At 4:05, Liam whispered, "Maybe they had the wrong day?" I nodded, holding back tears. I offered to check the app. Maybe there was confusion about the time. But when I opened it, I saw the truth I'd been avoiding. Dozens of messages in the digital world I'd been shut out of. Plans being made, playdates being arranged, life happening without us. He asked if we could still light the candle. I said yes. He closed his eyes and made a wish. I didn't ask what it was. I knew. That night, I found his crumpled invitation in the trash outside the school. Unopened, smeared with blue frosting, stepped on and tossed behind the bench. It was Bree's. I sat on the floor that night, staring at James's folded flag on the mantel. And for the first time in months, I felt something besides grief. I felt the quiet ache of rage. Not because they hurt me, but because they hurt my son. Because they turned the one day meant to bring him joy into proof that he was alone. Because they laughed at the man who gave everything. And because they had no idea who we really were. The Monday after Liam's birthday, I wake up with a sore throat and a strange pressure behind my eyes. Grief, I've learned, lives in the body. It starts as weight, then becomes fever. Then finally a silence so deep it hollows you from the inside. I keep Liam home that day. He doesn't ask why. He just watches cartoons and eats leftover cupcakes, one by one, until the frosting bleeds into the plate. On Tuesday, the school sends a text alert. Lockdown in progress at Greenhill Elementary, not affiliated with Crestfield. Situation contained, no further risk. By Wednesday morning, it's on the news. A boy walked into his old school with a weapon in his backpack. The same school district, one town over. He was 14. 2 children were injured. One teacher had a heart attack during the chaos. Crestfield goes into full hysteria. The moms who once joked about gluten-free cupcakes are suddenly talking about bulletproof backpacks and transferring to private schools. The group chat, still one I'm not in, leaks screenshots to the parent board. Do we know if our doors even lock from the inside? We need armed guards now. I don't care if it's not the vibe. Does anyone know someone at the mayor's office? We need answers. Bree calls a meeting. The kind where everyone shows up in full makeup and fear. I attend out of morbid curiosity. They gather in the multi-purpose room with lattes and rage. Some are crying, some are shouting. Paige stands with a clipboard. I know we don't want to panic, but let's be real. We're all scared. We need real safety, not another email from the principal. Lauren chimes in. I tried to talk to the district board. They said funding is tied up until the fall. We don't have until the fall. That's when Bree says it. If something like that happened here, we don't even have a real plan, no drills, no defense. We're just trusting fate. And you know what? We're the kind of town that people target. We're comfortable, we're visible, we're not protected. Someone whispers, just like Greenhill. I sit in the back, quiet, watching, because suddenly all the power they once held, their group chats, their smirks, their matching tennis skirts, can't protect them. Suddenly, they are the outsiders to something I've known intimately, the reality of loss, the chaos of violence, the split-second decision that tears your life into before and after. That night, I can't sleep. I open the small lockbox under my bed and remove the files James left me. He never told me everything, not out loud, but he always said, if something happens to me, open the red folder first. So I did. Inside, drafts of emergency response protocols he was designing for suburban schools, notes on crowd control patterns, security camera placement diagrams, behavioral threat indicators, letters to contacts in private defense firms. There's even a sketch of a campus layout that looks eerily like Crestfield Elementary. He'd been working on this in secret, preparing, planning for something like this, something no one wanted to imagine until it was too late. On Thursday, the school holds a candlelight vigil for Greenhill. Everyone's wearing white. I dress Liam in a pressed button-down and sit in the very back. Bree gives a speech, so does Lauren. Paige reads a poem she found online and chokes up halfway through. People whisper, so brave. They light candles, then release white balloons. I don't participate, because I've lit too many candles that didn't stop a bullet. And James hated balloons, called them distractions with good PR. He believed in action, not optics. The next morning, there's a new email. The district will not be implementing new security procedures at this time due to budget constraints, staff resource limitations, and legal liability concerns. We thank you for your concerns. The moms implode. They schedule another meeting, this time at Bree's house, a sleek modern build with sliding glass walls and Himalayan salt lamps in every room. I'm not invited. But Paige, who always parks her Tesla like she's allergic to curbs, speaks too loudly while walking by. This is why we need private funding. We're already donating to the library. Why not the safety of our children? I bite my tongue. Because what they don't know is, I already made the call. To the private security firm run by former Secret Service agents who once guarded the president. To the 2 retired military commanders James trained with, to the federal grant officer who once worked with James on national security programs. I sent them everything, his plans, his blueprints, his vision, his legacy. By Sunday, I get the confirmation, full funding approved, Implementation begins next week. Anonymous donor listed, no public credit. I signed the final form with shaking hands, then deleted the email trail. Let them think it was magic. I don't tell Liam, not yet. But that night I tuck him in and whisper, "Daddy would be proud of you." He's already asleep, one hand curled around the space where James used to kiss him goodnight. On Monday morning, the parking lot buzzes with confusion. 2 black SUVs are parked beside the main entrance. Men in navy windbreakers walk the perimeter, speaking into earpieces. One is installing reinforced locks on the kindergarten hallway. Another is loading a biometric scanner through the back gate. Bree's husband storms out of his car in golf shoes. What the hell is going on? Are we under threat? The principal steps outside, calm as ever. No, not at all. These are part of the upgrades, enhanced lockdown systems, surveillance integration, staff response protocols. It's all part of a privately funded initiative we're rolling out early. He pauses, just long enough. It's called Project Monroe Safe. The crowd stills. I see Paige freeze mid-latte sip. Lauren lowers her sunglasses. Even Bree goes quiet. Paige is the first to break. Wait, Monroe? Like Liam Monroe? The principal nods. Yes, the Monroe Safe initiative was created in honor of Special Agent James Monroe. Father, husband, and hero. A man whose legacy now protects every child in this school. Gasps ripple like thunder. He was one of the men who shielded the president during a classified attack on the Capitol. The principal continues. And thanks to a donation made in his honor, your children will never have to wonder what they do in an emergency, because now they'll know. A silence falls so heavy you can hear the leaves rustle on the blacktop. Then, one by one, they turn to me. Their eyes are wide, not in sympathy, in recognition. It's the first time they've seen me. The woman in the black sweater, the one with the homemade cupcakes, the one they left out of the group chat, the widow. Paige blinks like she's underwater. Lauren stares at the pavement. And Bree, who once laughed at my grief, takes a step back and whispers more to herself than anyone else. All this time, we didn't know who she was. For days after the reveal, the parking lot is different. No one talks over me. No one turns away when I walk up. No one smirks at my cardigans or my car or my silence. They don't know what to say, so they say nothing. And for the first time since we arrived in Crestfield, that silence feels like peace. The school installs everything within 2 weeks. Shatterproof film on the windows, cameras wired to an external emergency team, Bluetooth-locked classroom doors, color-coded response drills for teachers and students, trauma-informed mental health training. It's the most comprehensive system the district has ever seen. The local paper runs a front-page headline. Crestfield Elementary becomes first district campus protected by Monroe Safe Protocol. They interview the principal, the mayor, the superintendent, but not me, because I asked not to be named. The principal honors that. But the mothers, they know. They all know. At the next PTA meeting, the room is packed. Bree sits near the front with a notepad she never writes in. Lauren brings a tray of vegan pastries. Paige wears pearls. When I walk in, the room goes quiet. I don't sit in the back this time. I walk straight to the second row beside a teacher who once thanked me for Liam's quiet kindness. She smiles. I smile back. No one glares. No one dares. Halfway through the meeting, Bree clears her throat and stands. I'd like to propose a new agenda item, Bree says, her voice thinner than usual. Recognizing parents who've made significant contributions to student safety? She doesn't say my name. But every face turns toward me anyway. The motion passes unanimously. Paige claps too hard. Lauren busies herself with crumbs that aren't there. Bree keeps her eyes on the floor. A few days later, I'm walking Liam into school when the counselor stops me. She holds out a small envelope. No stamp. No name. Inside is a note in careful handwriting. You didn't just protect your child. You protected all of ours. Thank you for your strength and your silence. We should have seen you sooner. From one mother to another, there's no signature. But the paper smells like Paige's perfume. The true reversal doesn't come with a headline. It comes with small things. Bree moving her bag so I can sit beside her on a bench. Lauren asking Liam what kind of books he likes to read. Paige offering to organize Liam's snack day. Unless you'd rather I stay out of it. I say yes, because kindness doesn't need revenge to win. It only needs space. One Friday morning, the principal calls me into his office. He says the district wants to expand Monroe Safe to 5 more campuses. They've secured a matching grant, but they'd like me to speak at the press conference, just for 5 minutes, just to say what inspired the initiative. I ask if Liam can be there. He smiles. The day of the press conference, I wear a black blouse and a silver pin shaped like a shield. It belonged to James. I keep my speech short. No politics, no pain, just truth. When my husband died in the line of duty, I thought I'd lost everything. But grief doesn't disappear. It reshapes. And sometimes, if you let it, it becomes protection for someone else's child. My son still has nightmares. So do I. But now I also sleep knowing that the children in this district are safer than they were before, and I hope one day that safety doesn't just come from metal and glass, but from how we treat the people we overlook. The applause is soft, respectful. Liam runs up and hugs me, the cameras flash, and the story spreads. That night I bake cupcakes. Not because I need to, not because I'm trying to fit in, but because Liam wants to share them with his class. Blue frosting, gold sprinkles, just like before. When I walk into school the next morning, Bree meets me at the front office with a tray. Her cupcakes are white with little edible stars. Liam mentioned the party, she says quietly. So we thought. We'd try to do better. Liam must have mentioned it at school. I nod. This time the smile I give her is real. Because power doesn't always come from who speaks the loudest. Sometimes, it comes from who refuses to stay small. The invitations are simpler this time. No glitter, no hand-drawn stars, just clean white cardstock, printed names, and one small line at the bottom. Please join us to celebrate Liam. I don't expect much, not after last year. But Saturday comes, and they do. They come in pairs, then trios, then carloads. One after another they arrive. Tyler is the first to arrive, gripping a gift wrapped in silver foil and whispering, "Happy birthday," like it's a secret he's lucky to know. Then Ava, then Lucas, then half the class. The backyard fills with laughter. The trampoline bounces like a heartbeat. The cupcakes disappear faster than I can set them down. And when I turn around, I see her, Paige, standing awkwardly by the fence holding a plate. She meets my eyes. No smile, just a nod, quiet, but somehow heavier than any apology. It's not forgiveness, but it's something. Later that night, I find Liam sitting on the grass, blue crown slipping off his head, chocolate smudged on his cheek. "This was the best day," he says. "They came, Mommy, this time. They really came." I sit beside him. "Yes, baby, they did." He doesn't know what it cost, doesn't know what was buried to make this moment bloom. And that's the part he'll never have to know. Because real power doesn't announce itself. It moves quietly, builds fences when others build walls, turns grief into protection, and leaves behind more than stories. It leaves safety. That day, no one came. This time, they did. Not because they deserved me, but because I finally remembered. I never needed their permission to exist, to matter, to stay. A week later, Liam brings home a drawing from school. It's a picture of our house, Scribbled windows, a crooked gate, and little stick figures smiling in the yard. Above it, in his best handwriting, it says, "My house is safe because of my daddy, and my mommy made it safer." I tape it to the fridge, right next to James's flag. Some legacies wear badges, some wear blue frosting and gold sprinkles, and some wear the quiet crown of a boy who never stopped believing.